Oh wait, yeah, you actually want to get it just to see if it's coming. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's coming through. It might get choppy and stuff, but
My phone is there something?
yeah, but it's yeah, it's something. So I wanted to talk about. I wrote a poem. I wrote a poem the other day. I put out that video sharing what I learned from the heart. That lesson I learned about love and care and empathy and stuff. It was pretty deep. I wanted to share a poem I wrote that came a little bit after that. Just some words were coming together, a lot differently. They were coming together, and they just kind of came out. The thing about it, like the first 12 poems I wrote when I was kind of just, what I was doing was I was making to me, a body of work of my own that to explain everything I could, best I could, in a way that I could, and I could use to kind of teach reality from the outside material world aspect to the, I mean, just day to day life aspect, job aspect, and then aspects of archetypal characters and personality and how they, on the microcosm, how energy works from, the micro to macrocosm type of scale type of thing. Just my way of explaining life in general. So those 12 poems I wrote, that all came to me, just with layers of depth and just as these words came together and the meaning behind them and beneath them and writing them in they came so fluidly in a layered way. It was a lot of fun. Those 12 poems. And they play out to me in a really all encompassing way, but that's to me because it's what I created. But this poem, this 13th one I wrote just the other day, after that lesson I learned here, the way it came, it was interesting because it didn't come from up here because I learned that lesson and it kind of just came from a place of feeling instead of mind, place of heart versus mind, sort of that intelligence field where there's no words. So that's where this poem came from. And I wrote it because of what I realized about the words and the labels and how the words as they just pour out can really hurt. So so that's what this is. It's entitled Magic Words, but I think it'll make more sense maybe where I'm coming from now with that to preface it. All right, magic words. Have you noticed, had you heard, that words are spells and spells are words? They make you think, they make you act, they can make you feel as if attacked. Hocus pocus weaves the spell, deep within where feelings dwell. Good or evil, it's hard to tell, as misused labels add to the spell. Trigger, trigger, magic word. Feel deep inside as innards stir. The light of truth in your darkest hell. That is where the spirit dwells. No inner hell need exist. The experience was words used as magic tricks. True love for you is in your heart to heal the soul and inner parts. Not of mind, not of words. That is how life's magic stirs. An ancient soul, an inner child. It feels beautiful just to smile. I like how that one came together. I really do.
So,
I like yeah. Hopefully anyone that hears that can feel that one. I hope because I can feel that one differently from my others that were all just of mind, pretty much. To explain everything else that I thought I got, that I really I didn't quite fully feel yet. Even though I'd worked out how it works, how it's supposed to work, I didn't feel how it worked
I'll be right back.
until I did. All right. But yeah, that's what I wanted to share today. And hopefully no one that watches this gets too offended, because I'm not ever in too much of a hurry now. So this is kind of more like just a conversation between me and whoever listens, me kind of with myself, but what I want to share, and then also my son and whoever might be out, coming and going. I had I had some ideas too concerning creating, producing, and consuming. And I was relating it to what I was trying to do here by sharing. And hear what I'm doing. Hear what I'm doing something I didn't do for the first part of my life. First part of my life, I never really created anything of value. I produced effects in the world based off others' ideas and concepts and definitions of things. And I consumed ravenously, I guess, as taught. Just, I would love to eat things. I would love to drink. I would love to, the whole materialistic aspect of consumption and all its aspects, I guess. It took me a long time to realize I was that whole first part of my life. I consumed so much more than I ever produced, and I created very little. So when I wrote those poems, to me, at first that was a creation of mine. Now all the thoughts and words and everything else are all things that other folk came up with before me. But what I came up with in my writing was finally my own original thought, my own original thought processes, my own original perspective of reality, and not a reality based on others' definitions, only using the words that others came up with before me to explain what I was seeing and feeling and thinking I was feeling and thinking I was seeing. And so really that's all I try and do now, is now by creating these videos of just my words and just sharing, well, with no agenda other than to share, is to hopefully create based off my own organic thought and feelings on things. And in that, produce these videos that then others hopefully can consume. And it will be, I hope, information, when consumed, is only helpful. And sometimes helpful information, I realize when it's consumed. I do realize information that is meant to help can hurt, especially when that information conflicts with one of those magic words, a label, one of those. All right, well, I guess it disconnected for a second, but anyway, I was gonna say, yeah, like one of those, magic words, those trigger words, those labels. Those labels have been really held on to by someone identifying themselves as one of these labels. Then they can be triggered to act out according to what the definition of that label is to them. And to anything that opposes that label and that definition they might hold in their mind now becomes their enemy. So much division has been created with just labels in these different groups and these ists and isms. You know what I mean? How many ists is there? IST, you know, an ist, and then an S because there's so many like communist, fascist, uh, I don't know, psychiatrist, psychologist, anthropologist, physicist, uh, neurologist. You pick. Scientist. It doesn't matter what you pick. I mean, and underneath each one of those categories, let alone the vast multitudes of the rest of them, there's categories within those categories within those categories and labels within those labels within those categories. When it's all just over, it's everything that's thought, that has been thought, that's created, that has been created, is being created, is all based off of thoughts that don't have price tags or anything. This is all just energy working together. You know what I mean? That's why it's frustrating. After I was able to break those barriers mentally, all those mental separations of labels, those divisions of thought of black, right, this, that, the other, once you can break all those stupid paradigms of thought and realize that they're just labels, they're a way of identifying things, this or that, and most of them are nonsensical and need to be removed from the vocabulary, from the old memory bank, so to speak, you know what I mean? Because there's so much nonsense that gets trained into us that we see, and then we try and interpret with these half-truths and these twisted definitions of things based off others' misconceived notions about a misconceived notion. It causes it causes absolute insanity in society is what it does and what it has done. And things have just gotten way too complicated when they don't need to be. All based off of beliefs, labels, this, that, and the other. When we're all just, I feel, we're supposed to just be individual living beings living out our existence together here in a manner conducive to life itself, not destructive. So that brings me back to the producing thing. Well, the creation thing. Some of the things that have been created have been created purposely to cause harm in society and to life in general and to nature. Been created on purpose to do this. That was the thought behind it, or that was the thought process that turned something into this harmful thing. So it created it. Well, then other folks, or those same folks, produce these harmful things, right? A lot of folks end up producing a lot of harmful shit that's designed to hurt society and designed to harm those that consume it within that society. But they're doing it just because it's a job, because they got that whole belief that we have to do things like this, that we have to pick someone to go follow behind, and because they're already doing they know better, than we do, and go work for them and go grind away and go keep your head down, but by doing that, you're producing this harmful stuff that's then being consumed and hurting folk. Who are you? I don't know. And what am I talking about? What products? I don't know. But I know there's a lot of harmful stuff being produced. I know that stuff, and consumed on a moment-by-moment basis daily, because I grew up consuming most of it unknowingly for 39 years till I noticed just how much most of the stuff out there, all that packaged stuff is indeed designed in some form or fashion to have toxicity in it for those that consume it. That's just the truth I've come to know, and that's a hard truth that's a hard pill, so to speak, to swallow, which I won't ever swallow any more pills, because that's another thing. Yeah, no pharmaceuticals for me, thank you. No. but I've healed from all that damage is what I mean. And in healing from that damage, well, it took me realizing that that damage had occurred first for that damage to then start healing and for me to change my diet and lifestyle and then act in accordance with nature, as in line with nature and life, instead of being opposed to it or consuming things that were opposed to nature and life, if that makes sense. For me, I broke it down at first that simply because I was that confused at first as to what had happened to me, how I got so sick, how I got so insane. This the general state I was in before I really kind of something clicked and I had to look at reality. and and yeah, but so then once as I learned and as I really looked at things and did my own reading and feeling and researching and feeling and feeling and then not researching and then just being and kind of relearning life and even everything all over again like a child. It's real interesting, but yeah, I learned that I'd been doing so many things throughout my life so unnaturally that that's exactly how I got to the state I was in. And all I had to do was simply go the other way with almost everything that I thought and almost every behavior I had. I had to start out kind of going, well, if I'm thinking I should do this, I should probably do the opposite. If I think I should eat this, I should probably not. And that's kind of how I started. Along with drinking a lot of water, eating nuts and seeds, and things that I could kind of tell best I could were safe for me. Something plant-based, something I could kind of, and then, fast, get the gunk out of my system. It was a whole process, but I learned a lot. Physically, mentally, and spiritually, and I grew a lot. Exponentially, I'd say, compared to my first 39 years, and that's not to brag. I'm saying the change was that profound. And the healing is that profound that I went through, that I am going through. It feels so good just to feel again and just to be able to live and do and operate again, except now with clarity, by my own choice in everything, my own free will, so to speak. No longer this illusory idea of free will that I ran around with that was locked in these chains of belief. That's the free will I had for most of my life, until I realized, that those beliefs were chains, and that wasn't really free will. That was the will that others had imposed on me, kind of by explaining to me what their will for life was and how I should act it out according to their will. And that's what I realized. Whoa, something in there said, all these ideas aren't yours. Why are you playing out all these ideas? They're not yours. What are you doing? You're living someone else's lie, and you're about done with it. And that's what it felt like, and that's why I kind of lost it at first. But the healing process that came from that was so profound. I've been trying to put it to words ever since, and the feeling of it to words ever since, and only to share that so others can do the same for them, in them, because they are the key to them. Because it's just that simple. It's so hard to put something so simple when it's so deep and it's so intangible at first, only because you're trained to believe it's not there. But it is, and you are it, and you're there, and you're in there. You just have to find yourself. It might sound weird, but I mean it. Because I had to do it for me. That might sound kind of crazy, but you know what I mean, right? It's so hard to put that,
Doesn't sound
to
crazy at all.
grasp it. It was for me anyway. It was so hard for me to just grasp that.
Yeah, it doesn't
Man.
sound crazy at all.
I don't feel like talking too much about that other, like, yeah, creating, producing, all that stuff. Like, not in a negative way. So there's so many positive ways things should be created and produced. In art, but we could be doing that on such a massive scale. Everybody could. Oh, see, that's the thing. That's the thing about what about all that? To me, all that energy that's being put into producing things that cause harm. Boy, if that was all just redirected, and all this equipment that's everywhere and this and that, everything we already have. Like if it's just redirected in a positive way, say a whole bunch of stuff shuts down. Like, oh, we're not going to produce this kind of stuff anymore that does this anywhere, but everyone that's doing this in this way knows how to operate these things. Now we're going to start doing it, and this way and this and that. And, boy, everything could change overnight. Yeah, and you just could get rid of, could really get rid of just, boy, the whole free energy thing.
Yeah, that's
The whole free energy, and really, to me, that folk would be using their energy freely if there wasn't money. I think that. If it came out to where it said, you know what, hey, all us folks we're gonna start producing things in this correct way, in line with nature, in line with life, for the community, for everyone. All we need is X amount of folk in this area with this kind of knowledge for, the whatever, how this is set up, the energy wise, and water, food, shelter. However those areas are done with the agriculture by people that know that kind of stuff, and the best way to get the most yield and nutrient dense stuff, and the best way to use the land correctly without chemicals and all this other unnatural stuff. And the same thing, the folk that know how to get the water and use it correctly, clean water that's not full of chemicals and toxins and fluoride and things, and just have folks that keep those systems, and then the shelter, build shelter in line, with nature. You got different things like, I've seen these different things like these geodesic domes, stuff that's more energy efficient and uses the light, and then this and that and the other. And then that's still not getting into free energy yet. But just using things in line with nature and those kind of skill sets of that folk have out there all over. You just say, hey, we need folks in these different groups in these areas of expertise, and everyone pitch in X amount of time, their time and energy and expertise in each of those areas for the good of everybody. Communities everywhere could be built up, be self-sufficient within the community, have food, water, shelter, no need for money, only in need of some energy expenditure freely by the volunteers within that society just to keep it functioning. And it wouldn't take much. It would be a shared workload throughout society, where it wouldn't be these 40-hour backbreaking work weeks or 80 or 100-hour work weeks or multiple jobs or this and that. It would be multiple jobs, but those multiple jobs would just be day-to-day life. Food, water, shelter. And once the consumption changes in the body becomes more efficient on a plant-based diet. You need less and less caloric intake to function efficiently. You really do. It's a whole metabolic change that happens in the body, like when you really change, like it's what happened in me. So I'm just saying, it's real. But with that change in consumption now to eating in that type of more in line with nature type of way and more efficiently, now you're not consuming other life, you're not using other life anymore. And you need much less food is what I'm trying to say overall. And it really, everything could be so simple. Folk be freed up to do whatever they want, their other pursuits. There are things they want to create in life to share, as long as everybody's in on it, right, in the community, and as long as it doesn't cause harm to anyone in that community or outside in another community. Seems real simple to me, or it seems that it could be and it should be and it will be, is what it seems to me. When I say it will be, that's not any kind of threat. It's just, to me, it's logic of what I see and how easy things could be. So, yeah, I don't want any, not that I want anything to crumble, collapse, or go horribly, catastrophically wrong, because they really, I keep saying it like they really don't need to. They already have. Like, to me, we could only go up from here if we could all just kind of get on that same page. Oh, this is something we kind of said. If we could kind of get pulled up to the present, to the moment, to now, all at the same time, just for a second. If we could all get caught up. What I mean is all the ideas and thought loops that run through this idea of that and this and that. What do I have to do then? What happened then? What am I mad about from here, there? If everybody could just get caught up right at the same time in their mind first, just get caught up to the peace of now in the instant, and then feel it at the same time. Just for a second, feel it. In that spot, if they could feel their infinity for just an instant of that second, they get caught up to the now all at the same time, look at each other different and go, whoa, let's put things on pause, so to speak, and hold on, because things are wrong. So many people are being hurt everywhere. Everything's being hurt everywhere. Why is it like this? And why are we using each other the way we are? Why am I using myself the way I am? What is going on? Who is in control? Am I in control of me? Am I in control of anything in my reality and what's around me? Or is somebody else driving me constantly to do things? Or is it just someone else's idea that's driving me? Is it really me? But that's what makes you question when you feel that just for an instant. You go, whoa, what's going on? That's what I did. Once I could feel that spot, it forced me to stop myself, forced me to stop my thoughts, and then focusing very deliberately as I started to really examine my reality. And then stop them again to really consider what I'd perceived. Kind of close off from all the outside stimulus that had gotten to be too much. And consider and feel and wait and let things come. And they did. They kept coming and kept coming. And I knew where to look now and look differently and look more expansively. And things continue to change, and they still do. And I'm still learning, and I'm still trying, and at the same time trying to share. Because I know I'm not the only one. That's very obvious. And you're not the only one either. There's plenty of us, yeah. Seeing things different, doing things different, that's the important thing. Is once we're seeing it and feeling it, we're living it. Once we see it and feel it, for me, once I now can see and feel things, I can correct it instantly now. Might hurt, or hurt of the feeling and the after effects of what I just learned might hurt. But that's the healing kind of hurt of things going back into alignment and going, oh, now I get things even deeper and more profoundly and more expansively than before. And it seems to just be a continuous process. So yeah, definitely. Having a lot of, I'm actually enjoying this a lot more, sharing, especially even after a couple of days ago. I really am. Oh man. Not sure what else to talk about now. Yep. I guess if anybody has watched or watches in the future to this point, might be a good point to get ready to fast forward because I might not be saying anything and I'm just going to go ahead and smoke this cigarette.
Let's move on to.
Well, that's another thing too. I'm sitting like I just sat there for a second, just kind of, looked like I might have been lost in thought type thing. That's a nice difference too, is no, not anymore. Now when I kind of get lost somewhere, a lot of times I'll just get lost in the stillness. And it's not thoughts running through, it's not feelings running through. It's just lost in that moment of stillness. So yeah, so don't think, oh, he's staring out into crazy land. He's probably having crazy thoughts about, whatever. Nah, it's not like that. I used to, however. Yeah, I used to back in the day. Yeah, I don't know what else to talk about.
I was thinking of something to bring up or something or the other. I don't know.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, why don't they teach cool stuff like alchemy in schools? What, so many things I could have learned in school instead of wasting all the time I learned all the junk I did in school. I could have been learning cool stuff. Like alchemy, just the elements, earth, air, wind, fire, and then the ether. Just learn about the basic elements and how to combine them and use them within nature naturally in a non-destructive way, but how to take those elements in different, you know what I mean, different combinations of those elements and how to combine them and use them to create, to make things. Alchemy is something we do all the time without realizing it. But it's not till you really look deeper into what you're doing with the energies kind of around you and what you're made of and this and that and what you create to. That's when you really get into the alchemical part. And really that's kind of what triggers the whole alchemical process of development of, us as beings too. As really these things, learning these things, looking at these things, feeling these things, putting them together for yourself to where it becomes organic and not someone else's idea. That's what causes the most profound, to me, alchemical sort of physiological changes within the development of, I guess, a human being. At least that's what it's felt like to me. And the magnetism thing. Yeah. Yeah, stuff. Yeah, just all that learning about the whole. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah, just a pretty screwed up, materialistic, unnatural way of learning about nature is what it was, what it boils down to me. nuggets of truth hidden in mounds of doo-doo, caca. I don't know. I'm not enough of a know-it-all to say like everything I learned was total garbage because I know it wasn't. Because even the total garbage part, like say history, the history that's taught, which is total garbage, is still a good indicator at least of the madness of the society that's been built and that's been trying to be portrayed. And especially when you look into the different versions of history and how those suckers have changed and changed and changed to fit this or that narrative. Oh, what a mess. Yeah. So the only good thing to me about the history part was just to see all the repeating cycles and patterns of behavior and nonsense that link throughout absolutely every aspect of society. From religion, yeah, religion to the sciences of teaching to whatever, yeah, to religion to government to yeah, take your pick. Just is just yeah, I see the repeated cycles of word magic that's been used in definitions that have been used and changed, and then yeah, to create this cause or this label or that label because fight for this cause because or fight for that cause because and this and fight, 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 squabble, 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 divide, divide, divide. Yeah, it's so yeah. I mean, I really don't know what's accurate and what's not for sure because I wasn't there as far as history goes. So this isn't to offend anyone that studies history because I mean, I've looked pretty deeply at a lot of history stuff because it is interesting to get into the reading. It really is. Though when it's taught to a child who's developing their mental image of the world, their perception of reality, the way it's taught to the children in a totally one-sided fashion, the way it is with whatever nonsense that fits the flavor of the week for that whatever that education package was created for. That's nonsense, and it's mind control, and that creates problems. We got to go back later and fix. I had to go back later and fix because yeah, realize all these all these concepts, all these conceptualizations of different things and labels were just a bunch of word magic to keep me looking at other things as this group or that group or the other group and who. Yeah, it's nonsense. Except the language and the words are so important to convey messages and meaning. So that's the other thing, where the language is beautiful, how it can be used is beautiful. How it's been used is it's been totally misused. So I'm not putting down language either or any other aspect of anything really is. It's only what I see and how things have come about is it's a mess. Is what it is. Yeah, slavery is what it is. But yeah, it's enslavement of life in general is what it is. But and that's why I mean, if we could all get caught up to the present moment and go, wait, ooh, it's that bad. We're all perfectly capable enough to change this overnight, aren't we? Yeah, we are. Okay, let's do it. Right. Seems to me it could work if everyone could just get pulled up to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then feel that empathy, yeah, for self and other, just long enough to go, ooh, a lot of harm being placed out. A lot of harm has been received. Ooh, don't want this anymore. I know this shouldn't go like this anymore. Ooh, let's not do this anymore. It could work. Maybe that's what's going on right now too. Who knows? Maybe that's coming. It definitely does seem to be those kinds of days for those kinds of things, though. Yeah, I won't get into that. I was about to start talking about the whole sky thing and Yeah, Steve Ozinger video, the WSO with the video, the Eye of Ra. Yeah, I was gonna talk about that a little, and then maybe I shouldn't. And Matt from Quantum of Consciousness, thanks for your comment. I watch your videos, I like them. Just in case you guys actually see this, but yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, maybe why not?
You wanna talk about the sky?
Now I see a lot of stuff too, synchronistically in the sky and with the eye and all this other stuff. That goes back to sometime after I started to look at things different. I don't know if it was last year or if it was 2016, but I saw an eye looked like made of stars, very big in the sky one night. And I very, very, very clearly and distinctly saw it. And after that is when to me, I went, oh, like there's eyes on us, from above. We're being like it was like a God type of thing, like being looked at as if, you know what, you can't hide anything that you are or have done or whatever because there's other eyes watching. That was the feeling I got. Whether I saw what I saw or not, whether it was there or not, it's irrelevant. I saw it, so whether it was really there or just something that I kind of needed to see. So maybe my mind created it, but only for me to feel that. Maybe that's what I needed. Don't know. But because I saw that, and then later I came across it was the Eye of Horus is what it was, something about that. And then the title of that video today on WSO was the Eye of Ra. I've already put, the sun and then Horus. Doesn't matter, but it was the eye thing. I had that as the background of my phone, which I'm using right now, but for a while I had that as the background. It was a picture of that eye, the Egyptian eye, with this bluish, purplish background. And one day when I picked up my phone, this was last year, 2016, I come to find out later, but I had snapped a screenshot of the screen because it was 11:11. So I just happened to snap that screenshot, and I remembered it today when I saw the video, the Eye of Ra. So I scrolled back in my phone, my screenshots, and it was all the way back on this phone because I think the picture came from a previous phone I had and got transferred over to this one. And I saw the date on it was August 4th of last year. So when I snapped that screenshot of the background of my phone having that Eye of Horus, and the date was August 4th. So it was August 4th of last year. And that was after I had seen what I saw in the stars or the sky. So it just really interested me, the synchronicity of things. And then what happened like a year later for me, kind of, or actually it ended up being, I think, the day before on the 3rd of August, just a few days ago this year, is when I learned that lesson I learned of the heart that I was still missing. And I sat down on the chair and tears came to my eyes. So that to me synchronistically lined up, made me think of the picture, made me think of the tears, the lesson I learned, and then saw that, that was a year ago, August 4th. That's when I would show it, but it's on this phone. That's too complicated for me. My son has it on his computer. I thought about showing it with the screen, and then the picture of the video I was watching with the eye in the magnetosphere. Yeah, you know what? So why not? Why not just go right on to that? Here's what I think a little bit about it, and I don't know. Okay, I don't know where this one's gonna go. I really don't, but I've had these thoughts I've been trying to put together while I've put together my little inner universe of how things work and how energies intertwine, interconnect, and if they do it on a certain scale out there, then they must do a similar fashion here. What does it look like? What does everything look like? Well, to me, of course, I'm stuck on this whole, not stuck, I'm not stuck anywhere, but the things I consider and how I consider them, of course, so I gotta consider this as described by others like Santos Bonacci as the dielectric magnetic plane of inertia, where the rotating magnetic toroidal fields of force emanate from, and it's the whole energy of the ether and all its intertwined elements. But here on this plane of physicality, here, it's where all that spinning toroidal energy and the spinning of all those energies above and around and however it works, I don't know. Here, it manifests into physicality. So, to me, above, I see rotating luminaries above. That was the wrong direction. But I see rotating luminaries above me. Those luminaries to me, whatever they are, however they are, whatever. To me, it's this spiral pattern type of spiral, of course, like the precession, the moving of the stars. That spin, so those luminaries within that spin are in different planes within that spin above us that are lower and lower and lower to wherever, till we get down here to physicality. And above us, there are physical luminaries overhead, sun and moon. Not physical necessarily. I don't know. Anyway, but have very physical effects, like on, life, the sun, life. So it's whatever it is. But the others above those, also there's others that I would say are still within that same kind of realm, especially now of the sun and moon. They're getting closer and closer, and that's why we're feeling the intensity grow of the energies in general as they move overhead, over above, as they get closer and closer and closer, or closer and closer and closer and closer, however the shape might go. And the things being picked up on all the instrumentation out there, in the magnetosphere and this and that, and things that are being looked at with the telescopes, which are like giant microscopes that are just looking at something way far away instead of a microscope looking at a glass plate. To look at something so far away, you need a pretty big microscope. Doesn't mean it's a giant thing. It just means you need a giant lens to see it, since it's so far maybe, or not that far, but far enough to where you can't put the lens right up to what you're trying to look at. I don't know, just a thought. So to me, that's the intensity increasing. In the UVA, the UVB, the UVC, to me, it's the intensity, the increase in all the crustal displacement, because it's all this dielectromagnetic energy and different forces of different energies coming together, moving closer together. And it's creating whatever it's creating here. Increased earthquakes, volcano activity, storms that aren't always maybe all of these ridiculous storms aren't just created by all the spray and all the programs and SRM, the solar radiation management or mitigation, all these different programs and HARP and this and that. Maybe that doesn't create all of the most, crazy weather events that are going on. Maybe some of these weather events are being caused by the energies of luminaries above that are getting closer, that aren't being talked about openly by those with all the fancy equipment that you would think know better, that you would know better. I don't know. But to me, that's what's happening. What does that mean? Don't know. Does that mean this is like the end time apocalypse stuff? Sure. It seems like it. Seems like all the dark stuff's coming to light, so to speak. All the shenanigans is kind of coming to an end. So sure. If that's what it means, then fine. And if that's what it means, then it seems to me it would be easier for everyone to get caught up right to the present moment for a second to see it, to feel it just for a second, to go, oh, if it is stuff like that, then, and all those things are going on indeed. There's all these floods and eruptions and volcanoes and everything everywhere all at once, and all this stuff happening above and different kind of changes in the environment, plant life, animal life. Well, then, yeah, we could stop and then look for a second and go, might not all be man created, all these events, but something big is going on, definitely way above that at the same time that all these creative events are going on. So maybe we stop with all the shenanigans here and all the labels and materialistic craziness, and maybe take a wider perspective view on things for just a moment. That's just an idea. Of course, I'm only repeating myself. I'm glad you guys came out, because I'm just babbling now, I guess. What?
You're recording for live?
Yeah, it's live. It interrupted earlier, and then I just got back on and kept going.
While I was inside, you interrupted?
Oh yeah, like it stopped the stream.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had to resume. Yeah. I guess I turned it off though. You want me to turn it off? It's been a while. It's 52 minutes.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Was it resuming the same stream, or is it 52 on just this part of it?
You know, I think the time picked back up where it was, but now I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So it might be even longer. Yeah, I don't know. Oh. Yeah, I shut it off. All right, I'll probably talk some more some other time. Yeah, it's fun. All right, appreciate it.